throw it up one time, let it show. This for the 806. Hands up all of this. Ain't from the bottom, now we bigger. Say it from the government. This for the 806. Stand so tall in the picture. Real ones for that scripture. If you ride for the set, yeah. 806 up.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you so much to the 806er for having us. I am Phyllis Gant, Lubbock Chapter NAACP, Children, Family, Parent Advocate. I'm honored to have with me Miss Colette James, a mother that has advocated for her child for the last 4 years. She's going to tell us a little bit about where we are, what has happened to her son, and what our next steps are. Colette, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Colette James, and I am a parent of a student who has special needs in Lubbock Cooper ISD. I have been with the district fighting them since September 20th of 2022. That's when it first started. That's when my son came home with bruising on his body from his special education teacher. And I'm going to go ahead and show a photo of the bruising that I saw on him when I was bathing him that evening. This is photo number 1. As you can see, my son had what looks like pinch marks right here. And that's exactly what my son said it was, that his teacher, Rebecca Crane, had pinched him. And when she would take him into cooling off rooms in order for him to calm down. Here's another photo of a bruise on his body by Rebecca Crane. This is also from the cooling off room when she would take him in there. My son couldn't fully describe to me at that time exactly why he was going into a cooling off room, but that's what that was from.
So let me ask you, interject right here. So Rebecca Crane is a Lubbock Cooper elementary school teacher?
Yes, I'm not sure if she still is with the district, but in 2022, she was a special education teacher in life skills classroom for Lubbock Cooper ISD.
Okay, and fortunately for you and your family, and as we the viewers have seen, one parent had to put a camera in her son's braids, in his locks, in order for her to see and know what was going on with her child. In your case, your son is able to communicate somewhat to a level for you. But what has been the response from the district, if you can tell us, when you, of course, seeing the bruising, I'm sure you notified your school?
I did, absolutely. I called a meeting. I wanted to talk to the teacher face to face. I kept getting blown off. After my son was put in the room and the police were called on him, they blew me off. I had to request a meeting with the special education director at the time, Tracy Vincent, in order to even have any clarity. They wanted him just to come back to school, go in the same classroom with that teacher. That put the bruising on him. And over my dead body, absolutely not.
Yes.
So I had to call a meeting. I had Disability Rights Texas, Jennifer Coughlin had helped me during that ARD meeting in order to get my son on homebound services to be taken care of inside the home with a teacher, because I wasn't about to put him back in a classroom with Rebecca Crane.
That's great. That's great advocating. One thing I tell people when we get these complaints, you have got to be the voice for your child. You've got to be the voice. Reach out to us. We're willing to help you and go the distance. But the first voice is the parent. And that you need to go the steps of like your grievance process. And I wanted to know, did you do those things and what was the response from the school?
I have done the grievance. I have hired an education law attorney. I have done TEA state complaints with the attorney. I have filed for due process hearing, which at that point I decided to not follow through with in December, because after finding out that I can be silenced, I can handle that. But for my child to be silenced the rest of their life, to never ever be able to talk about this anymore or be able to go after anybody legally, that's not my story to tell. That's his story. So I backed out of it because they're not going to silence me or my child.
Exactly. So that's the offer that was made to you
Yes.
from the powers to be at Lubbock Cooper.
Yes.
We can settle this right here, but you will never speak of it again. You can't tell your story. You can't help other parents.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay, absolutely not. Again, as parents setting out to advocate for your children, it's lonely.
Absolutely.
It's a hard fight. Yeah,
Yes, it is.
it's a hard fight. But at the end of the day, you've got to speak up and advocate for your children. You mentioned your son being arrested. Tell us about that.
The first arrest was on April 3rd of 2024. He was put in an enclosed room, and he was handcuffed and told he was going to go to jail. And I believe that the officer on that particular one was Jamie Goucheron, who is an SRO with Lubbock Cooper ISD. He's the one that did the arrest for that.
How old was your son?
My son at that time was 11 years old, once again in life skills. He has quite a few different disabilities, ID being one of them. So he functions at a much lower IQ level than your average 11-year-old. So his comprehension and cognition is different when it comes to that. And also when the officer did come in the room, my son sat down and was completely compliant. There was no reason to arrest him. And not only that, he has autism. He doesn't like to be touched.
Mm-hmm.
He was scared. And why are you going to arrest an 11-year-old who has autism in his ID? It blows my mind.
And so all of his identifying issues are on file with Lubbock Cooper.
Yes, ma'am, they are.
Then what were you told was the reason he would be arrested?
Assault on a public servant is the only thing. I was never told. I didn't find out any information until I went over to LCJJC to have him taken so I could take him home. I was notified that they were going to take him into jail and I could pick him up over or go visit him over at the administration building at Lubbock Cooper. And when I got there, Chief Rick Saldina said, "You're not allowed to see him. We have him calm." And at that point, I was extremely upset because they were denying me to see my child. And I had to wait for them to take him from the back of the building. I saw him taking him out in handcuffs at that time. But I didn't know what he was being charged with until I got him and picked him up later that day over at the jail.
Okay. And then, so with that process, what was the follow-up to that?
After I picked him up, what were they
What
going to do?
What were you told would be the next steps for him?
I had to hire a criminal defense attorney for my son. And the next steps were I wanted him, put on homebound services at that time. And I was able to get him on homebound services. I want to make a correction. When I said with Rebecca Crane, when I had him removed in 4th grade from her classroom, I had him moved to his home school, which was East Elementary. So he went into a different life skills classroom. This particular incident on the arrest for April 3rd of 2024 is when I was able to get him homebound services for them to come into the home because he had already shown signs of PTSD and we were monitoring him and his behaviors.
Okay, now let me go back to Rebecca Crane. When he was assaulted, was she arrested?
No, nothing. This is what blows my mind, people. Nothing. No charges. Everything is done in-house. LPD was never notified that I am aware of. The Lubbock Cooper Police Department is the one that did all of the investigation work. And it's CYA. There's no cameras like in the classrooms, in special education classrooms. So all you're going off of is like what the teachers are telling each other in administration. And, the kid lies. That's what you hear all the time, even when they're telling the truth. they're telling the truth, people.
Yeah.
Chances are it's the teacher or the administrator that isn't, and they're covering their own butts in order to keep their job. And it's about time that they lose their jobs and get arrested for child abuse.
For child abuse, for assault. So again, the educator did not get arrested, but your son got arrested for assault on a peace officer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So parents, when you're watching and you're listening, the purpose of today's broadcast is that you are intentional with your special needs children. I've helped some other parents throughout the community with babies that are nonverbal. If they can't speak up for themselves, you've got to come up with a way. And we need to push our schools to get cameras in these classrooms.
Yes.
Because if that camera is in the classroom, as we just saw in the media with this other parent, there's no lies that can be told. There's no lies that can be told. The school was not ready for her when she came walking through the doors with the proof of her son being pinched, being called the N-word, and other disrespectful things to him as an African American student. What else can you tell us about your son's treatment?
These are the pictures from the first arrest. I have more bruising pictures from him being held in restraints by the officers, the holds, the things that he has endured with them, with the bruising. My son's maltreatment in the school district has caused him to fear, a fear like no child should ever have to go through, a fear to not be able to sleep, go to school, have trust in adults, trust in educators, because Lubbock Cooper, you keep putting it under the rug and you keep putting an attorney out there for immunity. Immunity needs to go. Immunity needs to go. Children are being abused, and you can hide behind your district attorney for as long as you can, but this mom has had enough.
Good. That's good for you. We, the NAACP, dealt with several parents, and this is some years back, whose children were on a monkey page. The issue we had in trying to get that matter rectified was mind-blowing. And fortunately, we had parents like you that were not going to stop. They were not going to let it be pushed under the rug. They were not going to let it be hidden. They stepped up, they advocated for their children, and they made that difference. But unfortunately, those parents took their kids out of the district. They had to remove them. So my statement to parents that are out there that are listening, be intentional with your babies. Use the summer to come up with ways to approach your schools and your school districts and how you want things reported concerning your children so that you're not getting these abusive issues and scars that are on your children. And these scars we can see on the outside. What's happening to these babies on the inside? What would you say this has had an effect on your son and how it has affected the way he sees the world in education?
Yeah, he is scared. It has affected him differently also because he was very trusting. He is not so trusting anymore. He needs mom with him a lot in order to do anything. Just to even, he would even refuse when his sister was graduating high school to even go towards the campus of the high school. That's how scared y'all have made him. You guys are bullies.
Yeah.
You are grown bullies. And you bully these children into submission. And my child, I will no longer allow you to bully my family and my child into submission.
That's good. Before we talk about legal next steps, what else would you like the public to know? What can you say to a parent that suspects some of these types of things are going on with their baby and they don't have a camera for proof? What would you suggest they do?
I would suggest that you listen to your child. If you have a suspicion, chances are your suspicion is correct. Yeah. I would bring it up with, I would look for behaviors. If your child starts acting out, not wanting to go to school, stomach aches, headaches. If your child is nonverbal, is acting out more, is, not wanting you to drop them off, there's a reason. And, the intuitive mother or father knows their child. And if something is wrong, then, you better believe something is wrong.
Absolutely. So right now, the Lubbock chapter in AACP, we're waiting for a response from the Title IX that's been filed on behalf of these matters. There are legal steps coming on behalf of this young man and this family. But again, I admonish you parents over the summer, devise a plan. Go through your school's website, see what the complaint process is, see how you need to follow through. Again, you are that child's first voice. We step in, myself, Darrell Ellison, Osaji, Angela Boyd. There's a team of us between legal redress and criminal justice, and we're ready and willing to help you. But we need you to be a fact-finding voice for your babies, because at the end of the day, this is abuse. This is abuse, which is a crime, and the rest of it is bullying. Texas has a no bully policy, no bullying policy. So we all need to follow that. Any last words?
I want all of them to be held accountable. My son was arrested 2 times with Lubbock Cooper. The last one I can't even bring pictures because it shows his face and the bruising on him, and how he peeled his cuticles back out of being so scared. He resisted arrest on the second arrest, and it took 2 officers to basically hold him down and cuff him. And I just want to go ahead and just list off a few
Absolutely.
names that I feel need to be mentioned, that need to be looked into. Whoever is watching this, I really feel that you need to take a better look into them. Chris Alderson, SRO, who is also married to Sadie Alderson, who is in charge of communication with Lubbock Cooper ISD. I've requested body cam footage. I've requested campus footage of my child. I have been denied not once, but twice by the Underwood law firm. They have not given me access to that, and they wanted Attorney Ken Paxton to go ahead and tell me no.
That you could not have it. We've run into that, the NAACP. I can't wrap my mind around it, because again, if you haven't done anything wrong, what is the problem with giving that footage?
I've already mentioned Jamie Couchon. Apologize if I messed your name up, but you messed my child up. Kason Smitherman, another SRO that was called and arrested my son. Chief Rick Saldina for denying me access to my son and overseeing these officers and thinking it's okay to have child abuse. Nicole Cryer, who is the principal that shoved my child up against the wall, knocking his head on the wall, in turn having him handcuffed and sent to jail when he was in 5th grade. April Balcom, assistant principal, now in Slayton ISD as a principal.
Right there. April Bachman, who we have numerous complaints regarding. This is another issue. I have to say this. No cap. Not the NAACP, just Ms. Gant. Why do we keep moving these people around? Why do we keep, Slayton parents, tune in. Why do we keep moving them around? If she was a problem at Lubbock Cooper, how does she qualify to go to Slayton? So another thing that I'm going to admonish parents to do, when you do meet the teacher in August, get every teacher's name, sit down with your favorite drink, go on the TEA website and confirm that person, because you guys, right here is a prime example. She was a problem at Cooper. She left Cooper, she went to Slayton ISD. Go ahead.
Missy Ware, assistant principal, who unplugged the phone on my child, not being able to call me during before this arrest happened. Gwendolyn Roberts, life skills teacher, who denied my son access to things on his IEP, which would cause outburst. Rebecca Crane, for the child abuse that you have done to my child, special education teacher. Heather Tressler, assistant principal, Lubbock Cooper Middle School, for having my son believe and trust you, and you were never trustworthy. you had the police called on my son. Jessica McReynolds, principal, Lubbock Cooper Middle School, for overseeing all of this and signing off that it was okay to abuse my child in the way that you guys have, emotionally and physically. Annie Crawford, principal at the time at North Elementary, who held the door shut with Rebecca Crane not letting my son out, but has since been promoted to Executive Director of Special Services for Lubbock Cooper ISD. Tracy Vincent, former Director of Special Education with Lubbock Cooper ISD, for allowing this to continue to happen and fighting me every step of the way to get the services for my child that he deserves. Keith Bryant, former superintendent for Lubbock Cooper ISD, email after email has been sent to you notifying you, not only by me, but my former attorney as well, wanting us to rectify this in order to come to an agreement. Nothing, Keith Bryant. Aaron Waldrop, superintendent currently for Lubbock Cooper ISD, I have emailed you personally, and you have told me that Annie Crawford, I was in good hands with her and she can handle it just fine. And Mr. Ellers, school board president, I have emailed you. You have been attached to the majority of all of my emails that have gone in with superintendent, and you have done nothing. You need to, I know you're retiring, but whoever takes your position, you're in for it, because this isn't over.
So again, to our parents out there, you are the first and the only voice for your child. This mother has advocated. The reason she's able to name names is she's got receipts. Receipts are what takes us to the next legal level. Ms. James, it's an honor. I'm heartbroken that we have to meet on these terms, but the Lubbock chapter NAACP, you've met our president. We're going to stand by the rules and regulations that regulate schools, and we're going to move this needle to the next level.
Thank you. May I say one more thing?
Yes, please.
To all the parents out there, and if you have a child that has been abused in the schools, either emotionally or physically, I want to know that I stand with you. I am here for you. Please reach out, and I will be there to support you as much as I can, because I don't want you to be lonely as I went through this lonely.
Absolutely. We send much love and respect to the 806er who took
Thank
out
you.
time to put this story out there, because I'm going to tell you guys, mainstream media is not going to cover the facts. They're going to chop it. They're going to give what they can. No shade, but they're only going to report what they can. This mother has the receipts. Protect your children. And if you need us, reach out to us. We will be there to help you. She has offered her expertise, as unfortunate as it is, to say she's available to you guys. Have a safe summer and study the rules and laws of your school and make that conscious decision. And please, please, when you get that educator's name, before school even starts, as soon as you do your meet the teacher, look them up. Let's see what's going on with that educator so we can give our babies the best and the safest school year possible. Peace.